Hello. I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and welcome to another episode here at Nerd Herder.
Hi.
I forgot to change the background. We're not in hyperspace because we're not talking about Star Wars tonight. There we go. Get rid of that.
Welcome to Blue.
We welcome to Blue. I'm Deeba Dabba Deeba Doo. Anyway, that's a niche joke.
It is. It's a very
Starting
niche
off
joke.
great. Yeah, we're not talking about Star Wars tonight. I'm J-Dub, that's Boop, and I'm vamping while they tweet.
Oh boy, are we
And
tweeting?
while we build up suspense, because you didn't read the thumbnail, you don't know the title of this episode. Pretend with me for a second. You don't know what we're talking about.
You don't know that I've been preparing this my entire life.
for all 4 years of our podcast
me.
life, we have. Oh, thank you.
Boop
I'm in there
superior.
too. Got Nicholas here. Got Andy.
You referred to him as his proper name.
I'm sorry. We had Podcast of the Wills.
No.
Oh, Milk Daddy.
Thank you.
Milk Daddy.
The Milk Daddy. Milky
Here
Daddy.
with us live, as you could be too if you're listening to this in the future.
Would you like some context? So would we.
You can still watch it and have fun, but it's always more fun live. And so invite you to join us next Friday for that. What we'll be talking about? Well, you'll have to wait to the end of this episode for that teaser. As far as what we're talking about this week, though, I've already made that teaser. And just to remind you and to give me 60 more seconds of pain, here's your reminder.
Let's ride.
I was possessed by an ancient demon.
Hello, Johnny.
In the presence of evil, I change into a monster, and I prey on the wicked, and I suck out their souls. And you don't want to be around when that happens. See, there's good and bad in all of us. And maybe you're not a murderer, but you did something you wouldn't want the writer to see. A white lie, an illegal download. What about you? And you? I've tried to fight it, to hold it back. But the darkness inside me only gets stronger. That's why I had to run. Halfway across the world. And I'm still running.
You wouldn't steal a car.
I too tried to run away, but
you wouldn't steal a purse.
Boop wouldn't let me.
You wouldn't illegally download a movie.
Yes.
That's my villain origin story right there.
Yes.
And to our lovely guests joining us for this madhouse, they chose to be here. I will go ahead and say I'm the only one I allowed, but I'm the only one technically here against my consent. But Justin, Charlie, thank you for joining us tonight for what promises to be. Listen, all right, look here, so y'all see, I do notes. I do.
He did do notes.
I do.
How do you do notes for this?
That's okay. So that's the thing. Like we might be crazy. Our shows might be off the rails, and maybe that's become our brand. But I do have notes, and I do try.
You try so hard.
This one is going to be the hard one because, like, what do you do when you're talking about Nic Cage? What do you do?
I
sit back and in awe of Nicolas Cage.
Exactly. That's.
I also didn't come here to talk about Nic Cage. I actually came here to talk about Sam Elliott.
He didn't come here to make friends.
The best part of this movie? Yes.
Yes, Sam
Put
Elliott.
the bunny down, Milk Daddy. Oh gosh.
Treason stuff.
Do you even notes, bro? I try, Nick. I try. I'm not as professional as you guys, but I try.
That's the level of, podcasts in the wills, streaming Star Wars and whatnot. I've seen some of your notes, and dear Lord.
So, but all right. So this is the beginning of what can only be called a series forsaken by God, where just randomly, when we're just feeling masochistic or have nothing better to do,
when the spirit leads,
we will be talking about a Nic Cage movie because you, Boop, love Nicolas Cage.
There was a time, I think it was during the pandemic. Well, we're still in a pandemic, but you get what I mean. It was during lockdown where I looked at you and I said, I think Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor. And you had such a visceral reaction to that.
Did you have COVID when this occurred?
No, I still haven't. God bless.
Right.
Hashtag blessed.
You know?
That sounds like COVID brain to me.
Right.
But
Had it
no,
and didn't know it.
It's legitimately, I adore that man for multiple reasons.
I think we put Face Off on for fun. Like I think it was just like
fun and profit.
Oh my God, this is on whatever streaming service. Let's do it. Let's go.
And I will watch any Nicolas Cage movie there is. I will.
It's so good. Every single one is a masterpiece.
We found out my secret. You want me to talk about and watch Nicolas Cage movies? We've got to turn it into content.
It's true.
It's got to be marketable at least.
I'm gonna make you watch adaptation.
Reminder for those listening again in the future: you could be watching this or you could be checking it out live, but you are missing the guest appearance of Nicolas Cage once again.
It's true.
In their triumphant starring episode. Like this is.
True. You just need to
This is his episode.
Y'all need to do a Twitter account
for Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, yes.
In the profile picture is just Nicolas Cage with a martini glass of jelly beans.
Yep.
Oh, dang it. I have jelly beans. I was going to do a glass.
Dang it.
Oh my gosh. I completely forgot to do that.
I can vamp.
But
yes, so
circumstances.
Let's get cagey. This is a series born out of that idea, that thought of how can I torture my partner?
It's not just you though. It's I've tortured Jared with Nicolas Cage movies. I've tortured like a lot of people at this point.
That's right. Yeah, because you went and spoke the gospel of Vampire's Kiss over Jared.
One of my favorite vampire movies.
And until recently, Nicolas Cage's own favorite movie of his.
Yeah, it's Pig now.
Yeah, it's Pig now. He's very proud of his work on that one.
I don't know that I've seen any of the recent Nicolas Cage movies.
Have you seen clips from Jiu-Jitsu?
No, the only one I've seen clips from is what's the one that's like Five Nights at Freddy's?
Willy's Wonderland.
I do really want to watch that one.
What's the one where he goes after the demon guys?
I believe that's Ghost Rider.
Girlfriend? Mandy?
Now that's a good movie. And I'm trying not to get ahead into, because again, anything Nicolas Cage is in is fair game to this series at one point or another. We can't promise when it will be, but it's coming. But I will say Mandy's a very good movie, and it benefits from casting Nicolas Cage.
Color Out of Space. That is an excellent movie. Fantastic adaptation. Thank you, Andy. I love you so much.
I love you, Andy, so I'm going to accept this as your opinion.
They're a genius.
Vampire's Kiss is a truly perfect movie. So now Andy has said it, and I don't know if Andy was quoting someone when they said it, but I know at some point on the podcast in recent episodes they mentioned that Nic Cage is like the kind of actor that needs the right kind of movie and director.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Keanu Reeves, where they can instantly go bad if they're in the wrong movie with the wrong direction and material and whatnot. But I will say up front that I do agree with that, because I've seen the likes of Mandy, I've seen The Rock, I've seen Nicolas Cage do good movies.
Con Air.
One of Mom's favorite movies, Gone in 60 Seconds.
I've seen him do a handful of good movies, and I've seen him do a lot of Nicolas Cage movies. And
you say that like it's a bad thing.
I'm not going to say bad movies. But he's definitely in a lot of Nicolas Cage movies.
Raising Arizona. That's a fantastic movie.
Yes, that's such a good movie.
So
such a good movie.
Clearly, Boop has their feelings. You guys were both eager to join this one. Can I ask why? Who
Boop's
hurt
gonna
you?
Sit back.
Charlie, why don't we start with you? Like, what you were egging me on for this one for a while. Even I can attribute Boop manifested the idea. You helped make it happen and actually get it on the schedule. So why? You were my brother, Charlie. I loved you.
I'm still your brother, and I love you. Just because we don't like the same thing doesn't mean we're not brothers.
Very true.
Nicolas Cage, I've always liked him. I mean, after Schwarzenegger is Nic Cage.
Really?
Yes.
You have excellent taste.
My first Nic Cage movie was Raising Arizona.
Oh.
And from there, it's just grown. I mean, Gone in 60 Seconds, amazing movie.
It's one of my mom's favorite movies.
I'll be honest with you, like I thought I was a badass for listening to the soundtrack all the time.
For sure.
But Con Air, all of them they're just amazingly done. He's a wonderful actor. I mean, who else marries Lisa Marie Presley and gets to go to the second floor of Graceland when no one else is allowed to?
Son.
Yeah, that's right. He has a metalhead son into anime, I believe.
Yes.
He's super supportive of that.
And who else buys a T-Rex skull?
Right.
And haunted mansions.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
And a pyramid coffin, apparently.
There's a whole story to that. You just wait. When we go to New Orleans with our friends, I'm going to give you a walking tour.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're going to Baton Rouge for a friend's wedding in a while, and I'm going to harangue our friends to going into New Orleans so that I can give them a tour of that cemetery where Nicolas Cage has a pyramid.
That is quite literally the best way to visit New Orleans.
Yeah,
because with
staying somewhere else and just driving in.
Oh, for sure.
Because you don't want to stay in New Orleans.
I was there for 2 weeks, and it was a horrible 2 weeks. And it wasn't just because of New Orleans, I will say.
Was that during one of the hurricanes?
Yeah, you were in Gonzales at the time. I really wanted to go to Gonzales.
Good times.
Anyway, but no, and yet again, Andy with the wisdom that and yes, they take a lot of risks. They do a lot of interesting things. They're a very interesting person. Like I don't want this to be, and I will reiterate for future episodes because as intermittently as we're probably going to do this, I feel like I have to because I make jokes and I jest a lot, but it's not Nicolas Cage the person. It never will be or is. I think he's actually really fascinating.
Yes. His variety interviews are fantastic.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of things where it's him. I like him. I like his brain. And, he is high on the list of people. If I could just at no expense sit down with a celebrity for coffee, and just chat, he's on that list. Because his brain is so unique. But he slips into a very unique character when he goes into film. I think a lot of people have recognized that he does a type. He is a type. You get Nicolas Cage for reasons. But as far as the person beneath the craziness and the caginess, I think he's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Justin, what about you and Nicolas Cage? Where did this fascination come from? Or is it just to watch me suffer? Is that why you're here?
No, well, yes, that is one of the reasons.
Because he's a good brother.
I like to enable Boop. My whole thing with Nic Cage is, and really kind of these kind of movies, because there's a very specific subgenre of this kind of superhero movie, because it's like these are like the first superhero movies we got, right?
Yeah.
This was around the same time, and I think the same director or something that did the Daredevil movie with the Ben Affleck one, and there's all these movies that nobody talks about anymore because they're bad movies or bad CGI or whatever it might be.
But movies.
But I was a teenager growing up. Came out. I think I was 17, and a lot of these movies were coming out around that same time. And I was working at a summer camp, where we did not have internet, no cell service, because cell phones weren't that big yet.
Right.
And you know, it was just flip phones, and maybe you got a bar. But we had this person that worked at the summer camp who had a cousin that lived in town who bootlegged movies, and they would bring this catalog of movies that just came out or still in theaters or hadn't come out yet, and we would watch all these bootleg movies, and they would sell them to us for like $5 or something. These CDs, some of them were just awful, like the quality of the you know, like we're talking like video camera in the movie theater. And so like, I mean, when I think nostalgia, I mean that's a lot of these movies. Like I said, I hadn't seen a lot of the Nic Cage stuff that's been recent, even though I want to. But like Boop was saying, you know, Gone in 60 Seconds, you know, Con Air. These are movies that we literally would sit down on the couch and watch with our parents. Our dad is, you know, nuts about these movies. Our mom her favorite movie is Gone in 60 Seconds. And, you know, just that nostalgia trip is really what does it for me for these kind of movies, especially for Nic Cage. There's always nostalgia for Nic Cage.
Well, and I can attest to that a little bit of the familial stuff, because I remember your dad and I sitting when we were down in Florida earlier this year. We, for whatever reason, I don't know where everybody else was, but it was us, and it was me and Dad, and we were watching 48 Hours. And you know, if you've never seen that, it's a classic gumshoe kind of rigmarole cop movie with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Really good, really fun. And I was, the whole time I'm watching that, and I'm also kind of like, you good with this? You know, and then he's wisecracking with it and laughing, and then it's like, okay, all right, cool. Listen. And then the sequel, you know, another 48 Hours, literally
74
comes up,
that's not
and
math.
it's just like, you know what? Yeah, let's go for another.
Listen, I think Justin can back me up on this. Like, we are a family who, what we did together was watch movies. We did Friday trips to Blockbuster, and we got popcorn and candy.
I had my own Blockbuster card.
Yes, you did, and I
still got it in a box somewhere.
God.
Oh yeah, you got to keep those. I have my mom's
it's a fossil.
Blockbuster card.
Yeah, like that was how we bonded as a family. You know, we were a movie watching fam. Like, watch Young Frankenstein way too young.
Name tag when I worked there.
Nice. Bonus points for anybody that had a Hollywood video.
Or a Beaver video.
I feel like we did Hollywood as much as we did Blockbuster.
Yeah.
If we had one nearby.
We went there less, but they had a better selection of action movies. I remember, because that's where I picked up Predator 2, actually. Because I remember being like wowed when my mom was like, "Yeah, there's more than one." So I was just like, sold.
Speaking of which, I didn't know there was a Ghost Rider 2 until this afternoon.
Really?
It has been a really long time since I watched it.
Did not know.
Because looking it up, you're right. So Nicolas Cage, that's the series. We're starting off with Ghost Rider because you're very passionate about this one. And it is the same director as Daredevil, Elektra, and the second Ghost Rider as well. Which actually kind of bookends a good bit of context for this film for me, because what's funny is how specific this guy's style is. I think it's Mark Stevens, was what his name was.
Mark Steven Johnson.
Yeah, he, you know, if before saying like, oh, this was the same guy that did Daredevil and Elektra, I'm trying to put a pin in, like, what would you call this style of film? You know, these flashes and these weird edits and
comic book, because a lot of them had that aesthetic to them, that I was recently reminded of with the new I'm pointing at my TV, which you can't see, the TV in the living room. The new Sandman series is shot and it looks like one of these old movies, but very much better done. And you know, it's obviously, you know, it's decade beyond in technology, 2 decades at this point almost, but yeah, it's that comic book, that what is it, the Frank Miller
Sin City.
and Spirit and all those other movies that just had that bizarre aesthetic to them that always drew me back. Because I'm looking at it and on IMDb it has more like this, and it's putting things up like Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, the Hulk, Green Lantern as well, Punisher, all those movies, and it sent me on a trip down kind of that memory lane for that genre, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because in order to try and make sure that I'm not being overly harsh on just this movie,
Yeah.
I went further with this era. So I watched Hulk from 2003. I watched Blade. I watched Spider-Man. I went back and it's like, all right, is it just the whole shebang? Is it all of this era before the MCU got traction, or is it just this movie?
Mhm.
And I'm sorry,
It's phase 0, man.
but it's just this movie, because 2003's Hulk is actually really, really good.
Okay.
Spider-Man is nearly perfect. Spider-Man 2 does everything the first one does and better.
Yes.
I feel
Don't
like
bring
I
up
just
the
have
third
to add-
one.
It was
Spider-Man 3
right.
is a bop. All these years later.
Even
It's entertaining.
Blade and Blade 2 are really, really good. The third one's also kind of Spider-Man levels of you can, but like, I mean, there's something about this movie that I just feel like had some things going on, and I tried. You can attest, Boop. I tried looking into like
You did your best.
what's going on. Why did it end up like this? Because but there is little to no behind the scenes to speak of for this movie. Like
Mhm.
whenever we talk about the second one, there's butt tons of it, buku behind the scenes footage. But for this one, there's hardly anything. So there's no like getting into the minds of the writers, getting into the direction of the director, and getting into the character with Nic Cage. There's none of that. But the one thing I did find, which was really interesting to me, and I know with films they shoot a lot of takes. What ends up being in the movie may be 3 different edits together. It could be 2 different cameras work and whatnot. But there was one scene where Nicolas Cage's Johnny Blaze is coming back to find Sam Elliott's Carter Slade after getting the butt beat out of him by Blackheart.
Blackheart, that's his name, yep.
And Nic Cage in that scene is being Nic Cage. Like, he is up and livid because his girl got by a demon, guys. I liked that take a lot. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was completely different, because if you watch the movie, half the time he sounds like he's just got like,
because he's being told to tone it down.
But that's the thing, is like, he and the director in the couple of scenes I get to see seem to have chemistry, seem to have energy. Where does the energy go when getting into the final cut? Because it's just a lot of slow southern drawl and pointing.
When he remembers to do the southern drawl.
When he remembers, yes. But so it's just that makes me curious about what happened.
Mhm.
What went together with this? We're so blessed now. Like, literally this week, Disney Plus dropped an hour-long special, and it's not just snippets of behind the scenes stuff. They sit these actors down, they sit the creatives down, and they talk to them. They make a big deal about behind the scenes now. They didn't in 2007. And for me wanting to understand this weird little movie, that kind of sucks, because I'm only able to go off of what I'm presented, and what I'm presented is kind of messy. But all that to say, I know there's a different version of this film.
I want to see that one.
There's a Nic Cage cut. I would sit down to watch this again if it was the Nic Cage cut, I will say. But so y'all like Nicolas Cage. Okay,
yes, we do.
I get it.
Why don't you like Nicolas Cage?
Okay, whose show is this?
This is the real question. This is the
I know,
question
yeah,
I
this
wanna
is
answer.
Like,
this is the intervention.
Take your time. Take your
been
time.
very honest. Like, it's not a bit. I do genuinely love Nicolas Cage, and I do genuinely enjoy exposing you to my love of Nicolas Cage, and I attempt to kind of reel you in and be like, hey, look at it. Why
Yes.
not?
Uh, I don't know. I know a lot of it is quality. It's easy to pick on that because and Andy in the comments, they've very eloquently put it together of, he has been in bad movies. He himself may be doing the best that he can do with what he's gotten. But like I said, he's an interesting person, and it's weird how that filters through in his acting because it's really not a lot of acting. So many of his characters are just Nicolas Cage or whatever character Nicolas Cage is when the cameras go. Because I don't believe, I think we learned this lesson with Jim Carrey in recent years that like Jim Carrey that people know and Jim Carrey at home even is not the same person because that's not how any of it works. Werner Herzog was recently noted in an interview, or maybe not recently, or it may have only recently come to my attention, where he talks about like, no, my wife will tell you I'm a completely different person at home. I obviously don't sound like Werner Herzog, so just imagine it's Werner Herzog.
I would like to see the baby.
Everyone else
completely
can do a
different
better
at home.
impersonation than I can, but
Look into the camera and tell me.
he's like, yeah, no, of
You
course
have to do the Dracula hands on each of Rosen Herzog.
it matches the voice. Of course, I'm not the same person to my wife as I am in these films and on the red carpet.
So you wish he was less Nicolas Cage and more Nicolas Cage.
Mm.
Yeah.
You wish he was less Nic Cage and you want more Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
There you go.
I think in a way, yes, because I think the times where he does, where he's better utilized by the directors and the
You
material.
need to know how to wield the cage.
Yeah, you do. Well, and it's not even just wielding,
Like the
but
dark
like
saber.
I think he likes to have fun, and he has fun on these movies. I don't doubt that he has enjoyed making many of these movies. So it's less about wheeling him. I think he just goes in having a good time, and whether it turns out to be Oscar worthy or whether it turns out to be good memories, he's happy.
Has he won an Oscar?
For me, I think it's somewhere in the middle where it's just like I get you're having fun, but like sometimes when I see what could be, what potential there is, I'm frustrated with what we get. So Ghost Rider's a good example of that. I have no good reason why I don't like him in certain movies where it's just like I have no vestment or interest in the final product. Why do I care how he delivers his role? And yet I'm left like, why? Why that way?
Do you think it's because you have more preconceived notions of what Ghost Rider should be?
And
the other characters are sort of like original characters and not comic book characters or things like that.
So yes,
I don't know. I don't know if that's what I'm hearing from you, but that I think that's something that I've run into with a lot of the MCU stuff these days is just, and I'm kind of falling out of love with a lot of the superhero movies for that reason is just that, well, mostly it's the fault of the fandoms, but
people ruin everything.
People ruin everything, and it's every. And don't take this the wrong way. It's review YouTube channels, and I know that's not what this is. This is a appreciation of art.
This is a therapy session.
Remind me
Exactly.
To send you some videos.
Exactly. But those, it's sort of like Star Wars theory where deep dives into all these things, and it's the same way with Lord of the Rings and all these other things. It's like we paint a picture of what things should be, and if it's not that, then that's a negative light on like a Nic Cage, Eva Mendes, Sam Elliott, or whatever it might be. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I feel like that's a thing that I'm sort of dealing with when I watch movies these days is like my preconceived notions of what a thing should be versus, I can always enjoy an original character that I've never seen or heard of before. But, I think I know what a Ghost Rider should be or a Johnny Blaze should act like.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, apparently.
There you go.
So yes and no, and I do agree that's a big problem. That's part of why we try to approach things the way we approach them, where generally it's a very positive and loving place, and if it's not, it's trying to get there or end as positively as we can. Like we don't want to be the worst of the fandom, and we don't want to contribute to that.
It's
But
just being open-minded when you go into something, you know.
yeah,
Exactly.
you have to be.
It ain't freaking hard either.
Because that's definitely a problem in the fandom, where, and I've said a lot recently where, because of the platform, quote unquote, and that's the thing, you don't have to content create to have a platform. You sign up to Facebook and you have a platform. Like, and that does something to your brain where you feel like you have authority, you have gravitas behind your opinion, and so you share and you share loud, and that can either be really good or really bad. Um,
Mhm.
and so, people taking those grand stands of this is what this should be, and that's what that should be, and that, they're, ruining my childhood or ruining this character or this franchise. Like we're seeing that with She-Hulk right now. We're seeing that with Lord of the Rings. Um, like you, it's all coming from people that don't own it. Yes, you have had wonderful memories. You've had great experiences with these things, and they've done something for you, and that's great. But to turn around and wield them like a weapon against people, is
Scrub
not
behavior.
what creativity and art was ever meant to be. Um, so yes, I have ideas of what a better version of this would be. No, it's not necessarily because I'm married to the comics or the heritage or the history of it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big comic buff. I know enough to get by usually and enough to get references in the modern movies. Um, and so I don't think anything has to be presented a certain way. I think for this one, it's much more Ghost Rider could be such a cool and interesting and walk the line kind of character uh, in a good movie. And so for me, it's much more. I'm frustrated that this doesn't get it all right.
Mm.
And I said as much to you while watching this. Like, it has a lot of good bones. It even has some really good cast. It has some really good
Good bones.
casting, even.
Boo.
Like, I want to like his Johnny Blaze because he has moments where he's really funny. Like, I like the prison scene where he's getting interrogated by the cops. I thought that was perfect, good humor of, like, I'm a Southern boy. I'm trying to be respectful, but also I'm trying to be a smartass. Like,
I didn't kill anybody.
I like that. He has a couple of times where I do have to say the transformation scene the first time is really, really
It's so
good.
good. It's so good.
And so there's good stuff here. It just doesn't turn out to be a good movie for me.
Fair.
And I know, and you said very clearly, Boop, while we were watching this, like, you're not trying to convince me it's a good movie.
I'm trying to just have a good time with you.
Right. And so, and that's the thing I'm trying to walk with, is letting go of, I want a good Ghost Rider movie. I want a
Yeah.
good Ghost Rider movie.
No, you get this Ghost Rider movie.
Do you know what? Do you know what I think it was?
What?
If I'm thinking about it, I don't think the movie had that many stakes, like actual stakes. There were no stakes to the movie.
There were none.
Not a single
No,
stake.
there was no threat at any given point to
I'm looking
Ghost
at all
Rider.
these other movies, and I'm looking at like Silver Surfer and the Hulk. The Hulk is a big one for me because a lot of people crapped on the Hulk for a very long time. I loved the Hulk. I loved each iteration of the Hulk. And those movies had stakes. I mean, he was wrestling with his desire or that inward desire to let loose and just destroy a whole city and lose the woman he loved, and and trying to find his father and figure out what's going on with him and all that kind of stuff. Like the whole movie had stakes to it, and now that I'm looking back and thinking about it, I don't think Ghost Rider had that many stakes.
Not a single stake.
Not really.
Hell on earth, but that was it.
Yeah, he never made it to dinner, so it didn't happen.
I
have to say, and we'll reserve it because we're going to talk about it at some point now because I want to.
Yeah.
Hulk 2003 is one of my favorite Marvel movies, and it is because it has the Marvel credits. So don't fight me on that. But like, it is such a good movie. I really want them to give Ang Lee another movie with modern Marvel because that man's direction and cinematography is amazing.
It is beautifully shot.
It is such a beautiful movie that like the camera work, the editing, all of that. You want to talk about a movie that looks like a comic book, like that is amazing work. That was not in any way near any of the 3 major established Hulk histories, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big problem. Is it was an amalgamation and difference to what was. I think Ghost Rider had a benefit that not a lot of most people might have known him, might have thought he was cool, but not a lot of people really knew much. And
No.
I think it was a character you could get by with that because he's just so cool. This is what a Boba Fett movie could have been, right? This is a character that has all the makings of something super duper cool in a bad movie. And it like we could have fallen flat like this. And luckily, I think getting things in the right hands with the right direction, we ended up with the Book of Boba Fett. With Ghost Rider, we haven't landed with their good modern iteration yet, but like what we do have
it's not canon anymore.
Is this. Yeah, no, I don't know. I want to see what a new Ghost Rider could do for sure, but yeah, like so we bunch of tangents there.
That's the show, baby.
Nerd Herder Tangent Podcast.
Right.
It's a show about nothing.
The tangents strike. But so to answer your question, I think it's film to film for me with Nicolas Cage because again, I think he's a good guy. I think he can do really good. I think he has an understanding of film and acting, and I think he has the brilliance to do something different.
Yeah.
I think it's about what does that end up being? Right? What does that turn out? Does that turn out to be a bad wig in an airplane movie, or does that turn out to be Ghost Rider
wig? What are you talking about? It is a beautiful wig.
You know, it's like
airplane
where does it
movie.
go? Airplane.
Shut up.
So for this film, I think it's just and I'm not putting this on Nicolas Cage. This is a Nicolas Cage movie, absolutely, because what we get is solely put on the broad padded shoulders of Nicolas Cage for this film, but I won't say it's bad because of Nicolas Cage. I don't think it had great writing. I don't think it had good direction.
There's a lot of weird choices that were made, and I said as much while we were watching the movie. Just like, is that really the best take that they got of that?
Well, and like you said too, like the writing doesn't always get there for certain scenes.
No, it doesn't always hit.
I don't know what happened to a thought. Like I was literally saying a thought as it left my brain.
And it has some really great actors in this movie, like Wes Bentley, fantastic actor. You have Sam Elliott, who is a douchebag, but he acts good. Like you have a lot of really good actors in this movie that are just doing their best, and that's part of the charm. Honestly,
yeah.
Watching Eva Mendes just do her
to try.
Dang best.
Hold on, you called Sam Elliott a douchebag. Is he problematic? Is he canceled?
No.
Do I not know something?
He's just said some stupid
because these
days
it's like you never know. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He has a very...
He's old school. He's
a fake cowboy, just like John Wayne. All right, let's put it that way.
Excuse you, I am a real cowboy.
Wait a minute. Okay, now you stepping in some things you shouldn't be stepping in.
Hey,
about
hey
John
there,
Wayne.
Hey there, John Wayne.
The Duke.
Isn't even from the South.
I was.
You talking about small feet, John Wayne?
Talking about little boy John Wayne.
I was thinking actually at one point of a different Ghost Rider where if John Wayne was still alive, he might have been Carter Slade.
He might have been drunk on set. Yep.
You know, like, well, I doubt he would have been still doing that then.
You know who could have played Carter Slade? Clint Eastwood.
He could have.
He's even more problematic than Sam Elliott, though.
Well, I don't know why I thought about Jeff Bridges being him, and
because he was in that
True Grit.
No, he was in RPID with
that's a good movie.
Was that in 2007?
Yeah, I think so.
2007.
2007, 2008. Yeah.
That is an excellent, near perfect movie.
Yeah.
I will defend that
Because it's
movie.
got Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds.
And Kevin Bacon.
And Kevin Bacon.
Yes, Kevin Bacon.
It's
Kevin
an
Bacon is in that
amazing
movie.
movie. It has no business being so good. So just to rewind just a sec before we
Sorry.
go down that road. I like where we're going there though. You Justin, you mentioned problematic people in the fandom. You mentioned negativity, all of that heavy stuff, and I get that. That's why we are so proud of our pickle friends, our weird space friends who do amazing stuff, amazing content, and not only make good stuff and have positive conversations and stand up and push back against the negativity of the fandom, but they also turn around and use their platform very well. Have either of you heard of Podathon?
Oh, dear Lord.
No? Well, good for you that I have a promo for it.
This is Ryan Johnson.
Hi, this is Christopher Sean, Kaz from Star Wars Resistance.
Hey, this is Seth Green, and I want you to join me for the Podathon 2022, benefiting the Make-A-Wish Foundation on September 17th.
Podathon is a day-long charity podcasting event that raises money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Starting at 9 a.m. East, raising money to help make wishes come true for kids who need it most.
I'm going to be on there with Octu Radio at 8 p.m.
I'll be hanging with my friends from Tatooine Sons.
I'll be hanging out with Scotty and Jerry of the Bombad Cast at 7 p.m. East, 4 Pacific.
Mark your calendars now and visit www.thepodathon.com for more information about the event and how you can donate directly to Make-A-Wish.
You will click the donation link now.
What are you waiting for?
Dude,
there you go.
That is still so insane.
There you go, Milk Daddy.
That was very abrupt.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't see that coming, and I was like, gonna say something, and then all of a sudden, bam, on my screen.
I know.
It was perfect though.
Yes.
Yeah, so Podathon, that's happening. That's a thing that people should check out. If you don't already know about it, which maybe you are and you're sick of hearing about it, well, too dang bad. Here's some more because it's pretty awesome. And we're very proud of our friends for what they're doing. Not only the content that they're making, the conversations that they're having, but the charity that they're benefiting. It's really great.
It was excellent.
Absolutely.
And so if you were ever wondering Nerd Herder's official podcast recommendations, it'd be anyone doing Podathon. We endorse all of them and put our stamp of approval on all of those. And so they're all ones you can check out now for whatever they're making up until a couple weeks from now. But you can definitely tune in September 17th for Podathon. You can donate now, and donations go to raffles, so you can get stuff out of it too. Because we're all people, we like to get stuff when we give stuff. It's fine.
I hear Alden Diaz is giving away feet pics.
We created a whole fake religious holiday about that. Like, come on, give gifts, give life. Go donate to
Woo!
The subtext that Boot puts in there, perfect.
Absolutely. So, anyway, I realized.
Are they his feet? Who knows?
I can't wait for Nerd Herder. I can't wait for Nerd Herder to end up on Wiki Feet, man. That's the goal. Once we go there, we're shutting down, guys.
Justin, get him out.
So
you don't bend like the way no more.
I realized something that these early Marvel movies did that they thought no one would notice, but I noticed, where they get really good, amazing talent from yesteryear and couple it with their young, wet behind the ears boy.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
You got Sam Elliott with Nicolas Cage. You have Jeff Bridges with Robert Downey Jr. You have Sam Elliott with Eric Bana.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, like, they multiple times they've taken these very familiar classic stars, paired them up with their up and coming heroes, and I guess that was the formula for success. And I will say for this one, it really worked. I joke, but like really, Sam Elliott does a really good job in this movie.
He does a great job, although his character is ultimately kind of useless.
I'm gonna walk you to the border.
That's it. That's all I got in me. Later.
One last ride.
I can only change it one more time, and I used it for this cool shot.
I fired and I missed. Like I like his whole death speech and everything.
It's great.
Like I really wish he'd stuck out the fight, because then maybe the fight would have been cool at the end.
You didn't think that was cool?
And then reveals like, oh, by the way, I gave up my life to have this fight to help you. Like that would have
that would have added some steak.
You talk about
Yes.
steaks.
Minimal steak.
That would have been
A
some
little bit of
filet
steak.
mignon right there. But instead he rides for one cool scene,
It's a very cool scene.
and then he's done.
That's it. That's all you
Yeah, I
need.
never understood that part. Like,
I
why
don't think you
didn't
need
just...
to.
It's just for the twist. The twist that wasn't a twist, because
No.
lo and behold, no surprise here, M. Night Shyamalan did not make this movie because that was not a twist. It was not even subtext. It was in your face text from the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
really?
It was cameos before cameos were cool.
Right.
It's true.
Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I don't know if it got you with the whole, oh, you're Carter Slade. Like, what?
Because I didn't know who Carter Slade was.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching these movies, I was not reading comic books.
I
Well,
couldn't read.
to be fair, I wasn't reading Marvel comic books.
Right.
Very
Me, same with me. I
I was
wasn't reading
big
Marvel.
Batman my whole adolescent to teenage years.
I was a big Batman too once.
Last night, big
Then I broke my
Batman.
back.
Got put down in a prison hole.
Oh, you
Oh,
can't
boy.
say we don't have fun.
I can.
Let's talk about some portions of this movie though, because we talked about Nicolas Cage, and I know it's let's get cagey, but
Like Nicolas Cage is the best part.
he is the majority of this film, and everything exists for him to walk upon. Because, all right, for instance, our cast of villains, right? Yeah, we have Blackheart, Wes Bentley,
Very good.
the son of Mephisto, trying to eat souls and take over a dead town. I'm not entirely clear on what he was doing.
It's like Little Nicky. He's trying to take his daddy's place. Like that is
Sin is in.
exactly. You could make Little Nicky and Ghost Rider the same movie with some minimal script changes.
You know what?
You could also add Dogma in there somewhere.
Goth Little Nicky is a serious mood though. If you were to explain this movie to me like that, I would.
You would think it's. The
I'd have
best
a
movie
much
ever.
better time.
They do not eat Popeye's chicken at any point.
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong, because Popeye's chicken is a shit. Anyway,
I hate your choice of movies.
I love that movie.
It's
Hey,
fine.
that's a good movie.
This is why I beg people not to take me too seriously. Like when I don't like Nicolas Cage, don't listen to me, because
You love Adam Sandler.
I love Little Nick. No, hang on. I love Little Nicky though.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
I love green up with the nipple rubbing. I love a good number of his better films.
Yes.
So like who am
Who are
I to
you?
judge? Who am I?
Who are you?
So
That's one of those movies that I stole from Justin's room. I did steal a
which
lot.
I stole from our older brother's room. So
Very true.
there you go.
That's the circle
You
of
talk
siblings.
you talk about the book of DVD, like you
Oh,
you know,
man.
remember that, like that's what I got that in. We found it was just a full binder of DVDs and music that my mom picked up at the thrift store, brought it home, and just gave to me.
Mhm.
Did not vet any of it. All right,
Yep.
so that's how
Never
I
took
watch.
too much time.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's how I watched Dragon Ball GT and Little Nicky and a lot of other worse things for the first time.
You didn't find a bag in the
Um,
woods.
No. Good inside joke.
I've never told that story on the podcast. What's going to
Have
happen
you
at some
not? Are you
point.
sure?
I've never told the
Oh,
whole
I think most people have a bag in the woods story though, especially growing up in North Carolina in the pine tree forests.
That was where the bag in the woods
So,
was found.
I have a
Mephisto's-
bag in the attic story.
Well, there you go.
So Mephisto's son looking for a bag, in the desert, and his 3 thug demons that get named once, and I didn't bother to look up again.
There's the wind boy, there's the dirty boy, and there's the water boy.
The
Yeah,
wet boy. The wet boy.
Oh,
We had
He's
so
a
much.
wet
We
boy.
had so much fun while and this is why at some point we'll do like Patreon Nerd Herder commentaries, because
Jimmy, why are you wet?
Jimmy, stop! You're ruining the. Like, we just had so much fun with Wet Boy because He's just wet and breathy, and that's his whole character.
I dated boys that looked like him in middle school.
Oh, for sure. Like, and it's just like, why?
Why is he wet?
And none of them were a threat. Much like middle school boys, none of them were a threat.
Zero steak.
That's true. I did get a knife pulled on me at middle school.
That is true.
The rest of them, yeah, like he dispatches pretty
literally they
pretty quickly.
What the formula is: wet boy, dry boy, wind boy. They all three show up. They showcase their powers and what makes them unique. And then all of a sudden, Ghost Rider's like, how am I going to get out of this one? I know. And then makes a wind tornado.
Right. Boils water.
As you do.
Yeah. Like,
what was the point of having them? Just for fun?
And that goes back to what I was talking about of like, that's not a Nic Cage thing. That's a movie thing. That's bad movie
bad writing.
And I've never seen these artists. I've never seen these actors in anything else.
Right. I wouldn't show up again.
They're actually barely in the cast for IMDb.
Yeah, barely. Like it's so crazy. Like they spent a lot of time on obviously Johnny Blaze, but also on cool shots of the devil. Cool shots of Wes Bentley, and a lot of shots.
There are
of
only
Eva
cool
Mendez's
shots of Wes
chest.
Bentley.
There's so many shots of Wes Bentley. Like he's a plastic bag.
There's almost as many shots of Eva Mendez's chest in this movie.
You can't fault them for that.
Whoever was over the clothing department could not find a shirt. They could not be bothered to find a shirt that could button up past her breasts.
No.
What the heck, movie? Like
it was the 2000s, which isn't an excuse. Like it's disgusting, male gazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's just that. It's just a pretty face. And that's the thing is it's just like I even said like the scene where she goes back to the apartment after arguing with him and she's there to apologize, which you have no reason to.
No. He was a douchebag.
For all intents and purposes, he was a butt and you called him a butt. Like
yeah.
What do you have to apologize? Like, yeah, we as the audience know he is battling a demon within. You don't know, and you have no reason to believe that.
And then you kiss him because he's Johnny Blaze, and you cannot resist.
Right? Like,
I don't know if I could resist either, to be honest.
In the one movie where this man has abs, in the one movie they give him abs, and it's wasted on one shot that they already did better with Chris Evans in Fantastic Four.
It's so good.
Flame on.
Such a good shot.
Flame on.
Exactly.
But no, but in that scene where she goes back, I'm like, she's doing really good with bad material.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like trying to push through what this is, and you can see it a lot in that scene.
Mm-hmm. Well, like that is a rampant problem that these early comic book movies had, and unfortunately sometimes continue to have. Is the female protagonist is just girl. You are walking boobs. That's all you need to be. And like it's gross. It's very gross. And I'm very glad that we are mostly, I'll say, out of that era.
Yeah, it's getting better. I definitely think like now with Marvel movies, they have to pass so many layers in the writing and creative process before you end up with a film.
They should.
The only reason I can really think that we get at least a good product, or what I would argue is a very good product every time, is because of how much of the process is there to end out with something. Yeah, executive influence and producer dabbling can be problematic, but I do think in a healthy environment, and I'm not necessarily saying Marvel has a healthy environment. I don't work there. I don't know. But I am saying that they have a healthy creative process as far as it lends to ending with a good movie.
Yeah, and a lot of that is part of having, women, people of color, and queer folk in the room when they're writing this stuff for those characters who are women, people of color, queer folk, that kind of thing.
Is that a reference to your stories, Andy?
Well, talking about Andy, they said I will say the spirit of vengeance should not be a cis straight white dude.
No.
Johnny Blaze is an inherently boring character. What's he really need vengeance for? I think I would like to see sort of an updated version where they change up those aspects of the character.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with some of that stuff.
Well, even recently in the comics, they've been going with Reyes. I can't remember his first name, but they have a Hispanic Ghost Rider. I believe he's still the current Ghost Rider, and he was the Ghost Rider of technically the closest to canon because he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. And so even just that.
But there are so many people that hate that.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't watched it since like season 2 when it was like early.
Yeah,
I think I made it to the end of season 1, but I guessed the ending. So then I was like, it's the same with Dexter. I guessed the ending of Dexter, first season of Dexter, and
I hear he's the murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
Robbie Reyes.
There you go. Have you watched Orphan First Kill yet, Justin? By the way,
I started it and then had to go to sleep. So because I really wanted to watch it. Which, by the way, freaked me out. That whole the first part of that, but I try to watch scary movies late at night because I don't know when else you would watch a scary movie.
Very good point.
All day, every day, Justin.
Exactly.
Well,
but I do agree with both of you. I think one of the things that does have to change is the typical archetype. I don't think we need any, and I said, so going back to when we did our Predator episode, I had somebody ask me like, they were like, oh, well, like, Danny Glover was in the second Predator, so it's not always been about white guys. And I was like, well, it's not just about white guys. It's just the archetype that like it has to follow a trope of it's either a white guy or a black passing guy. Like that, even in that movie, you've got the more white-ish black cop countered by that you have the black gang. The only really other major black featured characters in Predator 2 are a voodoo gang that don't even practice real voodoo.
No.
Like it's a Hollywood voodoo, and so it's just like it's you
Don't
can
even know the
see
difference
where
between voodoo and Santeria.
it's like still trying to follow a trope. Like, okay, yes, you got a good black actor in the leading role of this, but by and large, still, what do they go back to? The next chance they get, another white guy. Like, there's clearly a type to, unfortunately, action movies, which I really like. And I think anytime we can break that and realize that it's like, yes, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, I love his movies, but you can do those cool action or ridiculously funny movies with anybody. It doesn't have to be a white guy. It doesn't have to be a straight guy. It doesn't have like anytime we can show representation. It was my point then, and it's my point now.
Yep.
In the cast of Marvel that we have now, do we really need another straight white guy? I don't really think
We're
so.
full up on white dudes. Thanks.
Like let's get anything else, and let's do it well. Which I will say, Marvel has done better with. Shang-Chi was great at not just
so
all
good.
right. Here's your Asian American actor. It's like no, like let's make the whole movie.
He's Canadian.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Of Asian descent actors. I take that criticism. But it's like you didn't have to do what Blade did.
You didn't have to put Matt Damon on the China Wall.
You didn't have to. You didn't
That's
have
true.
to.
And we're grateful.
So anyway, I that makes me very interested and excited to see what they could do.
What's up, Justice?
With Johnny Blaze currently. Just because the more they realize the sky's the limit, even on traditional characters, the better off we are.
Yeah.
And so
Hey, Justice.
Justice with us in
Well,
the chat.
I mean, think about it. They almost cast Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Now, I know that there's a lot of
and that is the day Superman really died.
I know that there's a lot of vitriol and bad feelings about that, but I would have liked to see it.
He's got a strong chin.
Hey, there's behind the scenes footage of him testing everything
The
out.
test footage is beautiful.
Yes,
and
it
that's
is.
why it didn't happen.
It's
Because
so
then they
good.
looked at that and they were just like, we can't do this,
He's
guys.
also
We
got
can't.
long, flowing, beautiful hair.
We can't do
This is
this.
shortly after Con Air, so yes, he has
Yeah.
long,
I would. Yeah. I mean,
beautiful,
I will say I'm here for Superman mullet.
succulent hair.
Like I watched the animated series.
Super
I
mullet,
know. I know Superman can look good with a mullet. All right. So I was there for the hair. I was not there for the Nick. Did you look it up, Justin?
I just looked up the pictures. It's just
yeah,
it's so good,
crazy.
isn't it?
wow.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
Anyway,
So
what were we talking about? Movie?
cast of villains is nary enough to speak of. We did get Mephisto though.
Yes, we did. Still the only canon appearance of Mephisto.
Suck it, all the fans that thought he was going to show up in WandaVision.
Suck it hard.
I think they did good. I think they did good with the devil in this. I think.
Although we did notice in the first scene of Mephisto, there were a lot of like.
I like the way you ride.
Exactly.
It was very suggestive. So Andy,
Very
they may have been suggesting what you're talking about. I don't know. Johnny may at least be bi. I mean, he does ride on two wheels, so So.
I gotta go. It's been a good podcast.
Great podcast, everybody.
During bi visibility
so when you do it, it's funny. When I do it, it's trash. Okay.
I have a gay friend. I can make gay jokes.
I have a bi partner. I can't make those jokes.
You can. It's funny when I do it though.
You ought to get sad trombone though on your buttons.
What?
You are the sad
Yes.
trombone.
What do my buttons say today?
This is bad comedy.
Remember, you can hit me up at Duke Trooper 117 on Twitter. Send me your buttons. Send me your suggestions for our buttons.
Send us your buttons.
I gotta get on Twitter real quick and say one for not the bees.
Oh gosh, when we talk about that,
okay.
I want to follow it up immediately though with the original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good movie. If you watch it like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you have to watch, Wicker Man to Wicker Man and see the different. We're not talking about that right now, are we?
We're barely talking about Ghost Rider.
But yeah, okay.
It's more like.
So
right.
He makes the deal for his dad, who then just.
Okay, I got to stop you there. Okay, so first of all, again, we've already established this film has issues with subtext because. They basically tell us who Sam Elliott's character is and will be in the first scene.
Yes.
You could have seen a mile away that this daddy was dying of cancer when literally every scene he is either like holding a pack of cigarettes or lighting a cigarette. Literally every scene.
Every single scene, Johnny is taking the cigarettes away from Daddy. And he just keeps coming like a magician with his sleeve. Just like more cigarettes.
I wonder if he's gonna make it. Like, come.
I don't.
I mean, I know you had to work.
I've seen the movie.
I know you had to work fast. You needed to get to Nic Cage and whatnot. But
they did.
Like, it could have been better. The death scene, yeah, Dad's death scene.
It's literally just he goes up the ramp and
he doesn't even. He doesn't even make it off the ramp.
He doesn't, and he doesn't even fall in front of the fire.
He's not on fire?
No, he's not on
dead.
fire.
The ramp is 4 feet off the ground. What happened, Jimbo?
Dead.
He had a heart attack.
What?
There you go.
No, he didn't. He couldn't. No.
There's an explosion. There's fire. And
he just wasn't. The deal was so he didn't die from cancer.
Good point.
No, I get that. I
When it's your time, it's your time. Anyway, it's your time, bud.
I love the irony of it. I am here for Final Destination. My problem is they
could have had him explode.
They could have
something.
Kill him after the stunt.
Something. but he falls
He lands
over
into a crowd of people on bleachers.
in a scene that we have all mimicked, where Peter Griffin falls and hurts his knee. This man died. This man died
He
from a
trips and
boo-boo.
falls.
From a boo-boo.
Like, I can't help you, movie. I
Anyway.
can't help you.
And then he drives away in the rain, and it's all sad. And her boobs are wet. Like, yeah, that's the entirety of that scene, 100%. And then Nicolas Cage. You get one of the best introductions of character of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, Crazy Train was playing. It was great.
Crazy Train was playing. It was so good. Man, that scene was underwhelming.
Yes. It from that point on, it's just bad dialogue after bad dialogue for me. It's just a lot of just.
But it's fun bad dialogue in some spots.
At what point do the howler monkeys come in? I haven't seen it in a while.
Shortly.
Are we getting
when
there?
they're
Okay.
when they're on the tour bus.
Yeah, you can tell that this tour bus is full of men from Texas
They
because
were
they're
in his
drinking Lone
apartment.
Star beer.
That was probably the most Nicolas Cage this movie got.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was that scene?
Okay,
Yeah.
so that is an excellent scene of the movie, and I will preach that until the day I die. You have Nicolas Cage sipping jelly beans out of a martini glass, watching a chimp video.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's the thing, is it's just like, this is where the like doped out Nic Cage acting comes in, because it's just a lot of that. It's just drawl.
I asked you to clip it, and you never did.
And his deliveries of, Mac, you're ruining my mood. I'm trying to relax. Like, it's just a lot of drawl, and it's just like,
This was not even meant to be in the movie.
No.
This is somebody snuck onto set while they were just chilling between takes, and you're seeing
feels
Nicolas
like it.
Cage talking to the
It
actors.
feels like
You
it.
get-
When he sits down in his apartment,
Yeah.
and he's watching cartoons,
Yes.
and like when he turns off the tunes and everything like that, like
Mac, if you touch the Carpenters or that chimp video again, we're gonna have a scrap on our hands.
like, that's just Nic Cage.
That is one of my favorite lines.
That's
Yeah.
just Nic Cage. But that's like,
It's that, and you're stepping on Karen.
I would have thought, you could tell me
Don't
he
step
had a
on Karen.
bad time making this movie, and I would believe you, because I don't see any energy in it. But he
until he's transforming.
It's very
yeah,
Then he
it
goes,
all goes anytime he transforms, right? Like, he gives it all there. And like I said, there were clearly takes where there was something more, but for whatever reason, all of what ended up in here is probably the 700 take, you would think, where he's sick of it. Like, he's tired of these lines and everything. It's just like, so like, how I can't get into it and excited about it, because it doesn't even feel like Nicolas Cage is.
Yeah, but he's saying things in such a fun way that it's funny to watch.
I respect the work you boys do. I really do. In fact, when I get done and retired from my motorcycling career, I plan to use my skills like
As a motorcycle policeman.
I'm like, what the heck?
I love it. I love it so much. It's so bad.
I like that I came here tonight for the chaos, and I think I've ended up on John's side of the whole thing.
Get back on my side, boy.
Listen,
I haven't left your side, Boop. I'm there with you.
I'm not. I will say, I did not have the sauce to enjoy this. I can see how it would be a good experience in the right circumstances.
Yes. How many times did I look over at you just to make sure that you were at least paying attention?
And I just looked like I looked like Frozen Jack.
You looked like a haunted man
from The Shining.
Yeah. There were a couple times where I just reached over and grabbed your knee and just was like shaking you, like, come on.
So if Ghost Rider was here right now, he would look at Boop and say, innocent.
Yes, I am guilty.
And then he would look at you and say, guilty.
I also love that they garble up his speak, but when Sam Elliott goes ghost, like he's just Sam Elliott.
He's Sam Elliott.
You don't mess with the Sam Elliott voice.
No, you can't mess with Sam Elliott voice.
I do hold he's one of
Gosh,
the better
I need to
parts.
find out if he does a podcast as well. I just need to listen to that. I could listen to him read a phone book.
He's like Morgan Freeman. You could just put me to sleep. Just read night
Put me to
nighttime
sleep,
stories to me.
mustache
Yeah.
daddy.
I think I put this on Twitter,
Oh my God.
and now seems like a good place to mention it. But yeah, Todd Tinson played a young Sam Elliott in 2003's Hulk, and it
looks just like
looks just like him, sounds just like him.
The mannerisms,
freaking incredible, and acting across a good actor for a young Nick Nolte as well. But like, wow, if Sam Elliott ever dies and you still need it, Todd Tinson's there.
Do you remember that movie Barnyard? Because he was the daddy cow in that movie, and he did a real good job. Why did the
he's also Papa in The Good Dinosaur.
Yes, he is.
I just watched it recently, so I know.
I don't know either of these movies you're talking about.
So Barnyard is a movie about cows.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
The boy cows have udders.
Neat.
Yeah.
Progressive. I like it.
They never.
This is the future the liberals want.
The leftist agenda.
And I am here for it.
Our marriage is correct.
Gosh, I wish Milk Daddy was still in the comments.
I wish.
Anyway,
It's
yes.
not even, like, spelled like that.
I'm not trying. So this series isn't going to be a versus. It's not a side take. It's just Poop and guests have fun, and J-Dub is here trying to make sense of it all. Like, at the end of the day, I had fun with you because we always
this is your penance stare,
right? Yeah, this is this is what it feels like. Whenever we watch stuff, because when we watch bad movies, we have fun. When we watch movies we love, we still have fun. Like,
I made you watch Microwave Massacre, and you had an awful time.
That is a hoot and a half right there.
What is that?
I know, right?
If you want to hear, the voice of Frosty the Snowman, executing
Kill a bunch of prostitutes,
executing horrible crimes
with naked boobies on
Microwave
camera.
Massacre, and I'm not kidding you. It's the voice actor for Frosty the Snowman, and he sounds like Frosty the Snowman the entire time.
It's about a nuclear-powered microwave.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so good. It's so
I'm gonna have to delete my search history after this.
Yeah. Did you see the boobies?
Is that the worst it gets?
They're present. Present and accounted for.
1, 2, 3. Hey, this isn't Total Recall. Oh gosh.
Podcast. Or it's also not Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
The triple-breasted horror erotic on sex.
Yes.
That's just never mind. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut since this is a PG.
It is.
Hey,
we try.
Everybody gets one.
It's kind of like the after midnight shows on Cinemax.
The grainy ones.
Like Spider Babe and
Spider Babe.
Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker.
Oh my god.
That's another one of those movies that we're gonna watch at some point.
So consensus. So, and again, it's not
just trying to redirect, and I really respect it, John.
It's not a versus, so it's not a all right. Has your opinion changed? What's different? It's none of that. We just talked about Ghost Rider. That's it. But if you had to give it out of 10 flaming skulls for you, where would you rate Ghost Rider? Boop.
15. I love this freaking movie. Like, it is pure dumb comic book movie, and that is one of my favorite genres of movie. Like, I love stupid movies so much, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Nor should you.
Come at me, bro. It's not a bit. I don't make this stuff up.
Wait.
I don't make this stuff up.
All right, everybody grab your Extreme Teen Bibles and let's go.
That came up the other night.
Justin.
That's what she said.
Justin.
I don't like your scale. I'm going for sheer nostalgia.
My scale doesn't like me either. I'm a fat man. What are you talking about?
For sheer nostalgia, I'm gonna give it 7 martini glasses of jelly beans out of 10.
That is better. That is
like
better. That is better. Charlie, what about you?
I'm going to give it 10 flaming skulls out of 10 flaming skulls. 9 martini glasses full of jelly beans, and 15 howler monkeys.
15
Good
howler
one.
monkeys.
I like that one.
What is rating? What is?
I know what is rating.
But how many tomatoes? Oh nope, he
No.
He said his piece and he's out.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay, camera's out.
He's still here.
So for me, it depends. Like I wish, and I've said this before. Like you have an insane ability to enjoy anything if you want.
Stupid.
If you want to, like it, like if you have and can have bad times, but if you want to have a good time, you will.
Had bad times.
It's a superpower, and you use it for great good in the fandom, and I think it makes a lot of your opinions. I think all of you are more positive than me when it comes to this film and films kind of like it, where you can just have fun. And I again, I wish, and there may be a formula to turning off my brain and having fun. But so long as I can think about this movie, it bothers me.
So I just
because
need
it doesn't
to
make
lobotomize
sense.
you.
It just does not make sense. So for me, it's going to be 2.5 shortbreads out of 10.
You didn't say it right.
Shortbreads.
Shortbread. I love shortbread.
So and to do with that what you will. Like, watch this movie for yourself, make up your own mind, see if you like it. Maybe you like Nicolas Cage, maybe you like goofy comic book movies, and this is for you. At the end of the day, I know we had fun, and again, I didn't die. I exaggerate on Twitter. Like, it's a movie. It has no power. It's almost like you can watch these things, not like them, and move on.
I wish I could teach a class on how to turn off your brain and enjoy movies, but unfortunately,
don't know how you do it.
There is no suspension of disbelief anymore.
So
yeah,
you can do that. They teach a college course on Batman.
Yes, they do.
Really?
You're going to need to say more words about that.
Say more.
So, okay, we're going to talk after the podcast.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
But yes. So I had a good time making fun of Ghost Rider with Boop, watching it. I had a good time talking about Ghost Rider with you all.
I had a good time.
I can't promise that all of these Nicolas Cage centered conversations are going to be as fun. That's a microphone, but they will happen. And you all are invited to them indefinitely until I eventually die on camera. You know, because I foresee that is how it's going to happen.
And I'm going to continue the podcast.
That's fine. You and Pillicus Cage can have fun with that. But you'll need to know what we're talking about next week in order to do that. And for that, I have Justin, I'm going to play a video now.
Just so you know.
Just to prepare you. No, you can watch. I'm just making sure you knew before it happened this time.
Yeah, no, that's what I was scared of.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Proof of termination is also acceptable for a lower fee. Or I can bring you in cold.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.
Please don't kill me! I'm worth more alive! You're worth enough dead.
Make it quick, General. We're charging by the minute.
Did you miss me?
Bounty hunters. We don't need that scum.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about bounty hunters next week. There you go.
No disintegrations.
No disintegrations. That almost made the cut, but I couldn't find a place for it this time. But never fear, we'll have plenty of more things to discuss. And Boop is too obsessed with Pillicus Cage. But yeah, looking forward to that chat. You know me, I love a good bounty hunter, and so does Boop, so does our guests, and so do many people. And so we're going to be discussing our favorites. And if you've been tuned in for what those shows look like, it's going to be a hoot and a half as we try and pick our top 3 and defend it. But yeah, you'll have to tune in next week for that fun. Had to have something good to recover from Nicolas Cage. So
it was very good. Thank you.
Yeah, fun
Take
stuff.
a seat, young
If you're
Skywalker.
listening to this in the future, be sure to find us on social media and let us know what you think of Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, any of that
Tell
stuff.
us what you think. What did you have for breakfast?
Did you eat your teeth? Have fun and follow
What
us
did your
there.
mom do with your baby teeth?
I don't like that.
Nothing.
I don't like
Nothing,
that.
because she was a normal woman and got rid of them.
I'll be honest with you, I found my kid's baby teeth the other day, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Bury them outside, see what grows.
It's just weird.
Bye.
I don't like it.
If you love this, you can pay for it. Join our
What are you gonna
Patreon.
do with Charlie's baby teeth, Justin?
No, not mine. My kids.
I know. Oh, his son is also named Charlie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what a coinky dink. Well, until next week, where we have more fun chats about the things we love. Hope that everybody stays scruffy.
Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.